Welcome to the Murfreesboro.com podcast, where we talk about all things Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Join host John I. Carey, his co-host Jonathan Harmon, and producer Trent Denson as they talk about all the great things happening in our city. From construction updates to local business spotlights to all the amazing events happening in our community. Listen in for all you need to know from Murfreesboro.com. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Is that good for you?
Please use that. Oh, dear God, please use that.
I'm sorry. I'm literally was sitting here dying to do that because I was just be all calm and did.
Okay, ready?
All right,
I'm not
hello
gonna lie,
everybody.
man. I jumped a little bit.
Did you? Well, we can just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, we are.
Okay. Cool. Hello, everybody. There we go. Welcome back, Murfreesboro.com podcast. John I. Carey here. Jonathan Harmon right there.
Good morning.
Producer Trent over there.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
Cameraman Jeff over there. And then over here, we have a woman of many talents, Missy Lay. Thank you for joining us.
Where's the hats?
I know, right?
You should have all your hats.
Nobody knows. They're just like,
Yeah, actually, I knew of a lot of the stuff you do, and it was funny. We were just talking before you got here, and I was like, wait, hold on a sec. I forgot all this other stuff. And you do so many things in the community that are wonderful things. Thank you. You got your big Clue event coming up and all this other stuff.
Yes.
And so thank you for coming on. But I'm going to let him take this because this is where I screw up. Why don't you tell us about you?
I had no idea where he was going with
I
that.
thought you were going to pick up on that. My bad.
Hey, so John likes to usually just jump right into it. So tell us a little bit about you. You grew up in this community, lived here all your life, most of your
I
life?
was actually born on vacation, so I can't claim born and raised.
Okay.
But 4 days later, back to what I call Murfreesboro, the area between Murfreesboro and Smyrna. Florence, if you will. So I grew up there, and I can attest being bused from Florence to John Coleman Elementary School.
Mm-hmm.
Zoning has always been a thing in Rutherford County.
Right.
So grew up going to school, proud graduate of Smyrna High School.
That's right.
Bulldog for life. And went all the way to Nashville for school. So I went to Belmont. And then came back home, met my husband, and the rest is history. But I will say it was 40 years old when I figured out what I wanted to be when I grew up. So it's been...
You figured it out?
I did.
Ooh.
I totally did.
So, okay.
Tell me your
fulfilling.
secrets.
I know, right? Yeah.
I don't.
How do you
I
do
have
that?
no idea still.
I actually used a life coach, and we did this really cool thing where it was like, pick out the cards that are what you're really good at, and then pick out these cards of what you love to do, and then we meshed them together. And it was very interesting because we did an exercise where I kind of closed my eyes, and he's like, okay, you're at your dream job. What do you see? And I was like, I feel like I'm on a small riser, not really a stage, but kind of on a stage and kind of maybe teaching. Is there people listening to me or whatnot? And, I don't know. And then in 2018, when I had my very first Clue event, I was standing on the steps of Oakland talking to the crowd and was like, oh, this was it.
Are you sure those weren't tarot cards that he had?
Positive. There may have been some witchcraft involved, but no tarot. So that was just kind of like, that was my opportunity to use my gifts of logistics, because I've done like logistics and events for many different fields. So moving that into a way that I can help others was just like, it was like light bulbs and angels singing and all that kind of.
That's awesome.
Exactly. I wasn't going to go there because.
But it's interesting where you're talking about how your life coach guided you through that. There's a book that I read called 48 Days to the Work You Love, which if you guys have never read that, you should definitely read it. And it was very much the same thing. Okay, so what are you good at, and really what are you naturally, right? Are you a teacher? Are you anyway, it went through all these different things. But the cool part is, and this is what's fun, because I really want to learn this about you, is, okay, we figure out what you want to do. We figure out what you're good at. Now, how do you make money at it? Like, how do you actually have a living at that, right? It's sort of like getting $200,000 in debt with an English degree. What are you going to do with it?
Oh, gosh.
No offense to
plan?
English majors out there, but how do you monetize that? What do you do with that? Because you still got to live, and it's almost I don't know, passe to say, but wait, can I just do what I love? Well, yeah, if you don't want to eat.
Right. Right. I raised an artist, so I very much get that question. So for my 40th birthday party, my husband planned, without my knowledge, a scavenger hunt between us and our other 2 couple friends. And it was all about me. And so I asked him at the end, he was like, did you have fun? I said, I loved it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, did you have fun planning it? He was like, no, it was a nightmare. I had every person in the office give me ideas, and then I had one of the office workers like pull them all together and put it in a list so I didn't see them. So I know what might be on there because I've made some suggestions and all that other stuff. I was like, I would love to do something like that. He goes, well, just jokingly, well, you should, because the lady in Nashville wanted to charge me $500. I was like, wait, what? People would...
Honestly, $500 sounds cheap. I figured it would be higher.
Yeah. So, a lot of big cities have your app-based scavenger hunts. And I was, literally going through a class through Rutherford Cable. It was called the Center for Executive Leadership. And it was the master's levels class. Dr. Josh Aaron at the Jones College of Business taught our class. And at the beginning, he was like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want out of this class? And I said, well, I'm kind of ready to change. Like, I know I need to do something different. I don't know if it's working for a nonprofit or owning my own business or blah, blah, blah. So after that experience, I started doing my research with like, oh gosh, so these app-based things. I was like, well, I don't want to make an app. And I was like, well, I can personalize it. And then the wheels just started spinning. Like, how can I drive people into local businesses? How can we get people out of their homes and away from staring at their screens all the time? So that was another reason why I was like, I don't want to do an app. I want it to be. And so Kinsey Keene, a farmer's agent, was my very first hunt. And I did it for her for free so I could get some feedback. And they had an absolute blast. And, started with one monetary set and then went through another leadership class called Entrepreneurship and Innovation. And they were like, let's do the math. And I started breaking down what I spend, how much time I spend. They're like, you're getting paid $7 an hour. And they're like, you need to raise your prices. And I was like, so nervous. And they're like, if you went to Chuck E. Cheese, an all-encompassing birthday party is going to cost you an arm and a leg. So just charge an arm, and you're already ahead
just
of
charge an arm.
Yeah, so I went with just an arm.
Maybe a toe.
Maybe a toe,
Arm and a toe.
Yeah, big toe. Definitely the big toe.
No, that's the balance with pinky toe.
Pinky toe. Okay, got it. So essentially, the next day, I had just updated my website, and I got a call. And I was like, the lady's like, how much do you charge? I was like, well, our base price is, $200, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, do you need a deposit? And didn't even flinch. And I was like, okay, am I charging enough again? Like, do I need to, So it was just, I highly recommend when you find what you really love to do, build that bubble of people that you can trust and you can bounce ideas off of, and people that are just going to look you in the face and say, you're way better, you're worth way more than that. So
well, and it's okay to experiment once or twice and do a comp here, whatever, and try to build your skill set. But once you've got it, and especially if you have a product that no one else is offering, charge what it's worth.
Yeah,
and be confident in that. And it's hard. My Aunt Jo West is a caterer. And
a very good baker at that.
She's an incredible baker. And I remember several years ago we were having a conversation, and she was like, I just keep making all these sheet cakes, just sheet cake. And she's like, I've got to be competitive on my price. And I was like, well, Jo, is that what you want to do? She was like, no, I want to sculpt the cakes. I want to make these. And I was like, and you can charge a lot more for those, right? She was like, yeah. And I was like, then double your price on the sheet cakes. And she goes, what? and I was like, I'm dead serious. If somebody really, because your cake is better than everybody else's, right?
It's worth it.
And so if somebody really wants it and they want a sheet cake, make them pay for it. And in the meantime, charge what you need to charge on the sculpture, which is what you want to do anyway.
Yep. Raina Van Setter taught me that too. She said create packages where the first one is like, that's just not enough. And the next one's like, I can't afford that. So they drive them straight to the middle where it's like your wheelhouse. So
that's right.
I'm just curious when you talk about those scavenger hunts and things that you do, and I know you said you've done several. So like, if somebody had a birthday coming up, some kind of scavenger or like a fundraiser or any event, like how does that work? Like, can you literally take any event and turn it into a fundraiser? How does that work? Like, what would you do for a birthday?
So what I like to do is I have like a sheet where they can fill out their interests and favorite things, and then I tie that into our community. So I had a really fun one who this kid was 10 and was a huge Indiana Jones fan.
Oh,
and I am
like him
too,
already.
so score.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, great. Well, we can't do Nazis. Okay, so that's out. So I just started looking at his interests, and he loved solving puzzles and things like that. So
Tell me you did like Temple of Doom or something.
almost.
Oh, okay.
Almost. So there's oh gosh, I forget Palindrome. No. Oh, it's the thing at MTSU with all of the monuments to the
I know what you're talking about.
Uranodrome.
Yeah.
Uranodrome. Yeah. So like he went and
For those of you listening, that's the Naked Eye Observatory as well.
there you go.
Right,
There you
I
All
have
right.
no idea what that word is you just said.
Yeah, Uranodrome. Yeah. So if you go to the sun, and the clue was something about following, just like he put the rod into the thing and I was like, follow. And so if you went straight ahead, it was one thing. But if you look, there was a line drawn to, so they first went over, they're like, this isn't solving the clue. And then the 10-year-old was like, wait! And they all turned and were like, that way, and they took off. So it was really cool to see.
So,
And then-
so that was like Last Crusade, the scene in the cave
Yes.
with the.
Yeah.
That's
I know
awesome.
Indiana Jones. I love
Yeah.
those movies.
That's
I
awesome.
know.
That's very clever.
And then they went to like the center of the state, and there I just had like a code where he had to pick like line number 1, letter number this, and it spelled Uranodrome. And then of course they had to Google like, what is that? And it took them straight to it at MTSU. So we just have fun with
That's
what
neat.
they love to do, and he loved to solve puzzles and be
That
Indiana
is
Jones.
super
and-
cool.
Yeah.
So we do stuff like that. And then I won't lie, my favorite was a 60th birthday party. And they had a DD. They had a cooler full of goods in the back. And they started at Lovebound on Broad Street.
Oh gosh.
So and they were best friends growing up. So they went to Adam's place where like 2 of their mothers were, and their childhood pediatrician was there. So he gave them a clue. And then they went to St. Rose where they went to school, and they had to get their picture taken at the sign, and there was another clue, and it just like so much fun. And I literally walk around like a creeper and just watch because it's so funny to see. And I've only had one clue taken. Like somebody walked away with it and was like, hey, I just picked this up. What is it? And I was like, well, I'm glad I put my phone number on everything,
right.
but it's
Can you
just
please
so
go put it back?
fun. Right. Put it back. But it's interesting because when it's a kids party, I tell the parents, I was like, you're involved too. If you can spot me running around, just yell my name and I'll wave and you get points. So-
Where's Missy instead of where's Waldo?
that's right. So
I love
I
it.
was walking around the backside of the square. I had just seen them come up to the Center for the Arts, and I came around and I hear Missy, and so I was like, "Hey, you found me!" So the dad's like, "Oh, I win!" So it's fun, just getting everybody involved and things like that.
So I have planned a scavenger hunt around Rutherford County before for a group of college kids. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of like your husband in this, where I was like, no, that really wasn't fun. Nothing about that was fun actually. And then because I planned it, I couldn't play it, which is
Right.
what I really wanted
What
to
you really
do.
wanted to do, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work, and
It is.
and lining it up, and especially like if you use this gas station and you got to get 3 cents worth of gas or whatever. That was one of ours. Yeah.
3
And
cents.
Bring a
Ours-
receipt for 3
mine,
cents.
it was 40 because I had turned 40, so 40 cents. And
Perfect.
That's
bonus
funny.
if you could get one of the snacks that Missy loves. So everybody brought me a payday.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So-
Very good.
So for like your scavenger events, and shameless plug here, if anybody wants to do that, how can they find more information?
Oh, wildgoosechase.events
There you go.
is our website. Wildgoosechase.events, plural.
Okay.
So essentially, I take any opportunity I can to drive people into local businesses. And I have businesses that really support me and tell people about me. And then I have some businesses that are like, I don't really want people running in my store. So I never send you to a store that doesn't know you're coming.
Right.
Because I went to one store, it was in the mall, and I was like, hey, I'm going to be doing a scavenger hunt. And they're like, did you do the one last weekend? Because those kids were terrible. I was like, That wasn't me. Wasn't me. It was some Instagram challenge, and they had went in and tried on a bunch of stuff and just left it laying in the floor. I was like, no, not me. So I give them my card. I'm like, this is me. And if anybody ever comes through and is rude, you call me. And if they're mine, we'll take care of it. Yeah. So, it needs to be mutually beneficial. They need to have fun. The business needs to get some traffic, and then I get to enjoy the fun. So
right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's just one hat.
One hat.
Yeah, one hat. 6 more. Here you come.
Okay.
But you've got, we can go ahead and, you got a big event coming up, your Clue event.
Let's talk about that.
October 16th, yeah. So typically the Saturday following fall break every October, we take over the Oakland's mansion and we bring the Clue board game to life. So we have some really great folks in our community who agree to play the characters and raise money for nonprofits. And they're not actors, they're not trained, they don't have memorized lines, but they just agree to just have fun.
But they're definitely characters. We know a lot of them.
Yes.
Yes.
If you know anything about if you know anything about last year's Clue, 2019's Clue, Sean Hackinson really raised the bar. So this year's theme is the Clue Party, where the only nuts you'll see are the characters.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So our characters
wait,
are
hold
definitely.
on. You skipped the whole Sean Hack. What did he do?
Yeah, I'm really
Sean
curious
Hackinson. I gotta know. We all know Sean
that story.
Hackinson. So
Okay, so I asked Sean to play in the Clue, and he said yes. He said, "What would he play?" And I said, "Do you want to have some fun?" And he was like, "Yes, let's do this." So we talked it out, and he decided that if he raised $1,000, he would play Rusty Brown, the handyman. Mm-hmm. But if he raised $2,000, he would play the French maid.
Sorry, I just got a visual on that one. With Sean.
No idea.
I would show you the picture, but you can't unsee it.
You can't unsee it.
Essentially, what happened was we wrote. He raised $2,000, no questions asked. So we wrote it into the story that he was the handyman, and when that group of characters got together, they paid him to dress like that. And he literally walked around all night going, $20 is $20. So it's not like they paid him well. They just paid him. So he literally, and people were like, "Can I get my picture?" He's like, "I don't take pictures for free." So they would hand him money, and he was literally stuffing it in his.
Oh, that's funny.
And it was literally just a little one piece with bike shorts underneath, and he was. Like, at the end of the night, he's like, "Here's some money, Missy." I'm like, "Put that in a bag. I'll touch it with gloves."
That's right.
Can we disinfect it, please?
Fumigate that.
Yeah, but he took it upon himself. He ordered some fake male parts and kind of left them for the world to see. And I literally had an older woman stop me. He's like, "Somebody needs to let him know." I was like, "Ma'am, it's not real. It's not real."
Wow, good for you, Sean. Dang.
I was like, I don't even know.
I think AC/DC had a song about that.
Yes.
Oh, don't do this to me again. Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to be the game of the broadcast.
I'm having this horrible visual. Horrible.
Oh, and the picture's even worse, for sure. But when he did his professional photos, he had a cigar in his mouth with, a little duster, and just owned it the whole night. And
That's awesome.
And just talked like Sean, because, and then it turns out he was the actual murderer. So the story last year was there was a reporter that got wind of this secret society that was meeting, and Sean he had enough. He was done with them treating, so he did it, and he had read Murder on the Orient Express. So instead of everybody doing it, he decided he was going to make them all look guilty. So it was just he just came in, he said, "I read this book," and it was so funny. So funny. And then
that's Sean, kudos. That's
good job,
he
bud.
did an amazing job, and he tried really hard to get me to help me find someone to do that again this year, but there just weren't any takers. There's Sean Hackinson, you're one of a kind.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
I don't know. I think I can think of a few people that would do that.
Okay, well, you need to let me know, because this year's maid is actually Sarah Callender, who is the Main Street Murfreesboro director, and she looks meek. But the maid is in the corners.
It's always the quiet ones.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So with this year's event, what what nonprofit are you raising money for?
So we started a grant process this year, and we had applications from nonprofits. And my committee decided, they voted, and there was a tie. So it's Nourish Food Bank and the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center.
Both very good ones.
Yeah, they're amazing. So really excited. I love that grant process because we can help different people every year. Because I literally just want to help everybody. So that was kind of a way to do that. And I'm hoping that we can move the Gatsby that way as well. That it's a grant process that we can help multiple.
So who actually puts it on then? You said your committee, so Wild Goose Chase.
Yeah, it's my baby. It's the one thing that when I started my business, I wanted to do. And I just had to flesh out how it was going to look. And every year we make improvements. So, the second year we added an extra hour for VIP so they could interview the characters longer, have more time to solve the murder. This year we're instituting what I'm calling the Disney rule. And it's where we'll have the characters stationed at certain spots so that when you have a question for Mr. Green, you can look and go, okay, he's on the front lawn, and find him. Because otherwise they're just roaming around looking for people in the middle of crowds. So
sure.
that's going to allow us to spread out a little more too.
I didn't realize y'all did the Gatsby event. That was
I took it over in 2020.
Oh, okay. What a year to take it over.
I know, right? It was the perfect year. The 20s are back, and it was like, oh. So I took it over because nobody was willing to take it on. And I know it was a fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Association. But at the time, Dean O'Neill, who was there, was like, the Alzheimer's Association has said, we do our walk. You can't, do that as well. So I have such a heart for local, and I love what the Alzheimer's Association does, but I wanted to help someone locally who gives back to our community on major levels. So we decided to split it for Amelia's Closet and the Alzheimer's Association, and then insert 2020. And so everyone who bought tickets were given the opportunity to either donate their money or hold their ticket till the next time. And then all the sponsorship dollars that we had raised were split. So Amelia's Closet and the Alzheimer's Association still receive some funds, but
Well, that's good though. But
yeah, even through that.
So you're gonna blow out the next one?
Yes,
Ah.
2022, March 12th, 2022.
There you go.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
good. If you're doing it, it's gonna be a home run.
Yeah, so
But yeah, also, sorry, I love what you just said. You love local and everything
Yeah.
local, and you also have locally owned Murfreesboro.
I do
Yeah.
locally on
Good
Murfreesboro.
segue.
Yes, sir. We're getting good at this now.
Yeah, that's nice.
I am very fortunate to be president of Locally on Murfreesboro, and through COVID, it was tough. We did we had some really great local businesses who did some live videos on Facebook. Like Dean Heasley did one about what to do with a negative review. Kara Kemp talked about getting organized, and we did that to try to keep our people connected. But then I was trying to figure out a way to create the Google of local businesses, if you will. So we went in, we found a great management software, and we now have completely free membership. So
wow.
we want to be the place that people look. You see it on Facebook every day. I want to get my mom a present, but I want it to be local. Locally on Murfreesboro.com. Just get, So we just slowly got it all figured out, got it rolled out. So we have a free membership, which puts you in the directory. And then for a measly $50 premium membership, you get your link back, you get your logo, and that sort of thing. So we're currently up to about 75 members, but we have hundreds and hundreds of small businesses.
What is in something like that, what is your criteria for a local business? And where I'm going with that is you got local franchise owners that it's a national brand, but it's still locally owned, or multiple locations, things like that. How do you guys define locally owned?
So within Murfreesboro, it is a business where greater than 50% of the decisions are made locally. So I have a dear friend who is also a Bulldog for Life, Jonathan McGuire, who owns multiple.
Jonathan McGuire,
who owns
yes.
multiple. McGuire Management owns lots of
Love that guy.
McDonald's, and he lives and breathes in our community. He raised children in our community. He gives back to our community.
Huge supporter in our community.
big.
He does
supporter.
a ton of work here.
Absolutely. So that he makes those decisions. Like, to me, the only bonus to his is just the brand name. That
Right.
he works his tail just as hard as somebody else. So we, if you, like I said, if greater than 50%, like you have to live in our community, and then those decisions have to be made locally. So from one employee to however many employees, if you're a small business, or even places like Puckett's that started in Nashville but came to Murfreesboro, they have local management teams that run and make decisions and help our community. Yeah. Red Bicycle is another example. That's a franchise that he bought and brought in. So, there's just so many places. But every time I do a scavenger hunt, I hear, I didn't know this place existed. And I'm like, when? That's what I wanted. That was my goal. But people just need to know that they exist. And if there's a directory where you can go look and see, what are my options? Do I have to go to Lowe's? Do I have to go to Home Depot? No, there's Haynes Hardware, there's Fair Brothers, there's Holden's Hardware on the square. So there's just so many opportunities, and I've just really made it like a lifestyle of choosing local to the point that my family knows when we travel with my daughter's softball, we travel and it's like, okay, where's the local pizza joint? We got to try the local pizza joint. Or, I'll spend, when they're napping or whatever, I spend the day running around checking out local places. So it's just a lifestyle. So
you have to choose. I mean, the path of least resistance is to hit Amazon or whatever, but you have to choose to support here.
Yeah, for sure. And
just a side shout out, I was going to say, for your scavenger hunts and stuff. And it made me think when you said Jonathan McGuire. Do you know who Scott Findlay is?
Yeah.
What, he owns the Tommy Express car washes?
Yeah.
I've actually we've grown to be friends over the past several months, but he does so much stuff in the community that nobody knows about, just like Jonathan. And like these guys, they do so much stuff. And Trent, and you can attest to this, you've interviewed a bazillion people that do so many things in the community that nobody knows about.
Right.
And they're all local businesses. But, I mean, they're huge supporters of schools and everything. Like I was saying with Jonathan McGuire. Sorry, I had to give him a shout out to that.
Absolutely.
Because I've told Jonathan and Scott both, I was like, I'm going to bring some kind of attention to this. Because both of them are like, no, don't tell them.
And those are the best kinds of humans. And that's honestly where I would like to be. I would like to be in the back a little bit, but again, going back to Clue a little bit, like this year, I'm not hosting. I will greet everyone and say welcome, but we are having a Veronica Page is going to be our host for the night. So I will just get to sit back and watch and just.
It's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
she's wonderful.
And I found out that there's outside of Pride, there's never been a drag queen host, and I was like, well, let's fix that.
Let's fix it. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you picked a good one to start with.
Yeah.
You're setting that bar.
And it's funny, it's during rehearsals with our characters, LaDonna, who is playing Miss Scarlet, turned on her Veronica Page to play Scarlet, and Norman was like, I recognize that voice. And she's like, I learned from the best. So it was just super sweet. But yeah, I want to be on the, like, I don't, I want to help as many people as possible, and they all go unnoticed, and that's, I mean,
I've actually tried that with, like what you're saying. I've tried to make it a goal to bring attention to some of these people that do all this stuff. And it's funny, like Scott and Jonathan, and I'm not going to say specific, but they have done some big things in the community that nobody knows about. And they're just like, just let it go. I'm like, no, people need to hear about this. And they're like, no, it's okay. I'm good. I'm like, well, all right, fine.
Right, fine. I will tell people.
Fine, I'll tell them another one. Yeah, one-on-one.
Yeah,
There's a certain amount of joy in being able to do that, first of all, and then in doing it and just enjoying that it was done.
Yeah.
It is. It is such. I mean, I just can't express. Like, that's how I knew that I'd found what I was meant to do, was just how much joy it brought to serve others. And I finally got my family to figure that out. When I ask, what can I do for you? It's not, you're not making mom do something. I want to help you. I want to serve. So it's interesting. And I had 2019, I literally had what I called a farewell tour, where I just went, and this is my funnel. It's locally owned, it's Wild Goose, and it's Rutherford Cable. And if it doesn't fit in that funnel, then I have to say no. And no is a very difficult word.
It is a difficult word. Yeah.
But it is a complete sentence. So
It's a complete sentence.
I'm really trying to,
I'm going to use that. The shortest complete sentence of all time.
No,
That's right.
and
No.
it's so powerful. And I remember just a couple of weeks back, I had to say no to someone, and I literally had my best friend Michelle Willard. She held my hand and was like, "This is what you got to do. Type the email, read the email back to me." No, I didn't tell you to put that in there. Take that out.
Yeah.
You're not sorry. You just say no. And then I sent it, and then I was like, had a brown bag, like, I just said no. Oh my gosh. And then it, like, bing, like, almost immediately got an email, like, I get it. I understand. Thanks. And I was like, oh, wow. Now I want to throw myself a party.
It's so hard, though, because most people have some type of a fear of rejection. And so, therefore, since we know that most people fear being rejected, we fear rejecting. Right? And then we worry about whether or not they're going to hurt their feelings or whether we're still going to be friends or all this other stuff.
That's
and
fair.
it's like, I just can't.
I was raised by a single dad, so my fear is not letting anybody down. Because he had that look where I knew I had disappointed him, and I just don't want to disappoint anybody.
The whole, I'm not mad, I'm just really
just
disappointed.
I know that one's worse than mad.
It'd be like, no, please just get mad.
Yeah.
Please.
Please.
Blow up,
Yell at
spank
me,
my bottom,
say
whatever.
something.
Yeah, I can't. I have never perfected that look, but it's powerful. So I just never want to let anybody down.
Yeah.
So,
But in the process, you end up letting yourself and your family and the people that you're focusing on, you let all of them down.
yeah, I have a Post-it note on my desk at home, and it says, "Your best yes is reserved for you." So
Oh,
my
that's powerful too. Right
yeah,
there. Yeah.
that was amazing. So my new mantra, if you will, is if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So if I don't get super excited, like when Gretchen Bilbro asked me to help with Cultivate, I was like, hell yes. But if I have to even go, it's got to be a no. Like I have to, like I don't need to figure out how to work it into my schedule. I don't it's just got to be a yes.
And I'm so sorry. You said cultivate co-working. What is that?
Wait,
John, you have the best. You are the best at your transitions today.
new hat?
Set that up. Yeah. So Gretchen Bilbro started Cultivate Co-working, and to this day, I attribute her to the success of my business because I went in to check it out so that I could have an address, a place for my business, because I have no desire to ever have storefront. And she was like, "What do you do?" And I told her, and she got super excited. And the next week, I had 3 phone calls from people saying, "Gretchen Bilbro told me about you," and I was like, "What?" And so one of them was the Downtown Murfreesboro Business Association, and they were wanting to do a scavenger hunt for fall, incorporating scarecrows and Oktoberfest. So that was my very first paying gig that I got underpaid for. Very first one. But it was so much fun, and I still I look back and I think that was all Gretchen. If Gretchen hadn't said, "You should check this girl out," who knows, where I would be. So
We call those ambassadors in my company.
Yeah.
So if you can deploy past clients or just people that get excited about you.
Connectors. Yeah,
So do you have
for sure.
moments like with your scavenger hunts when they're done and people are so excited and you go, "I did that."
Yeah, I do. I literally walk around Clue going, "Did you have fun?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're
you
welcome.
have fun? You're welcome."
This was great. You're welcome.
Hi, baby. So, yeah, I really do, especially with kids. I love to see them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So do you have any other events you want to tease or anything?
Oh, absolutely.
Go for it.
I am very fortunate to work with Joel Bigelow with Indoor Athletics.
Yep.
And we are doing the end-all be-all New Year's Eve event in Murfreesboro.
Really?
There's no more need to go to Nashville.
Do tell.
Yeah, what's this?
December 31st at 9 o'clock, we will have at Walnut House. There's valet, there's red carpet, there's paparazzi. We have a very special guest, Trent Denson, is going to be our red carpet guy.
Boom.
And then there's photo. I mean, it's just super high, super posh. So if you know the Walnut House, there's technically 3 levels. So the first level will be where you come in, and in that room there'll be not a band, but just like a vocalist and some musicians. Like for the chill area, where those who like to celebrate but just celebrate quietly. So the wife wants to go up and have fun, and then he wants to come down and just drink his bourbon and enjoy some music, watch a game, whatever he wants to do. It's totally available. But then you go up to the second floor, and that's where the party will be happening. If you know,
That's the big room, like the performance room, right?
yes, that's the big room. And if you know anything about Ricky Martini at the Walnut House, he can put on a show.
Yes, he can.
So up there,
Quality
we'll have
guy right
DJ,
there.
lights, lots of excitement. We're going to celebrate New Year's in 3 time zones. So if your deal is being in your PJs in your bed at midnight, you can come and celebrate 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, we'll be celebrating Buenos Aires New Year's. At 11 o'clock, we'll watch the ball drop in New York. Right. And then at midnight, we'll have balloon drop, fireworks, indoor pyrotechnics.
What?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
It's going to be so awesome. And then there's a little VIP area, little half story up, that will have its own designated bartender, food. There's going to be some poker games, maybe blackjack being played up there for our VIP guests.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's going to be amazing.
And this is all for Endure?
All for Endure Athletics, yes.
Nice.
I'm trying to help him create, like, 2 big fundraisers of the year. That way he's not doing, like, 13 different ones.
Because they have something kind of important going on, do they not? Didn't he announce something about some land or something?
Oh, yeah.
Trent, you got the inside over there, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's in the works still, but
Okay.
Yeah.
they are in. I don't know exactly where they are with that.
I saw
but
a
it's
Facebook
super-
post
yeah.
where he's standing out in the field talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they really want to create a home that these kids can come to do their homework, and you know, because there are a lot of churches and places that give them space to mentor these kids and do athletic activity and things like that. So the goal eventually is to have a home where after school you come, you hang out, you play in the backyard, you do your homework on the computer, you eat a good meal, and then you go home. So that's their big heart. And he's had a lot of really great support. I serve United Realty. There's a title company I know, and I'm sorry, Cornerstone Title, I think it is, that just have really been big supporters. But we're trying to get everybody involved. And an event is the best way to do it. You know, getting those, you know, big time event, you know, supporters. In fact, we're still looking for a presenting sponsor, and we want it to be, you know, like Wild Goose Chase events, you know, New Year's Eve Bash, benefiting Endure Athletics. So, you know, if you're looking at creating a one-of-a-kind event or being the face of that event, I mean, just let us know, because it's going to be...
But you said creating an event, so I was going to have 2 requests for you.
Okay.
On events.
Do tell.
Okay. One, I think you would probably kill at like an 80s event of some sort. I'm a big fan of the 80s.
Did somebody tell you something?
No. Really? Did I? Do you? What is it? Let's hear it. All right.
Can't tell you. We're going to have a very famous announcement coming up in the next week or 2.
Okay. Off camera.
Hold February 12th.
Okay. We got a date. That's it.
And 80s, oh man.
Okay. I love 80s events.
Yeah.
I actually have a Richard Simmons outfit that I used to
I do too.
Oh, it's the best one. It's so funny.
Yeah.
But,
there's an 80s event coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one was, I would love to see local. Sorry. I'm sorry for the horrible visual, folks. I'm really sorry. Yes. I had to wear shorts under the shorts because of how short those shorts were.
Yeah.
How many times can we say shorts in a sentence?
Short shorts.
Yeah. Oh, big wig and everything. It was great.
That's awesome.
But the other one was like, we love to go like all out at our house for Halloween. And I was like, but you got all these haunted houses and things that you got to go to Nashville, or there's that gigantic one in Atlanta they talk about all the time and all that stuff. I'm like, we should have like a big giant blowout here of some kind of Halloween event.
Nice.
I think that would be awesome. Can you know how many people would show up for that, dress up? And
Yeah,
I don't know.
Mike and Candy Panesi, they used to do a fundraiser at their home for Halloween.
No.
Yeah, I think they did. And in fact, through COVID, they were like, is there somewhere you'd recommend that we could do it not at our home? And they had considered Walnut House, but then it just didn't work out. But, I mean, I'm down.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I love Halloween.
Like, we have a storage unit just for our Halloween stuff. I mean, our house is the house in our neighborhood that people come to.
Yeah.
We have hundreds, if not thousands, of trick-or-treaters every year. We go through those giant totes. We have 7 or 8 of them full of candy, and they're all gone.
Oh my gosh.
Because so many people come
You
by.
need to hook up with Matthew Stump. He creates his own stuff. Like this year, there's
Cool.
pumpkin vines, and
Nice.
he goes all out. In fact, for Clue in 2019, I was like, we need to have some sort of dead body. He's like, I got one.
Yep.
He had like the mannequin and everything,
Yeah.
and we made it. And
Yeah.
he like the murder had been he'd been burnt, so he had got some of his old shoes and burned the shoes.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So
This year I kept telling my wife, I said, like, I want to take, because every year we up it a little bit, right?
Yes.
And I said, this year I want to go all at, like, I found some like Hollywood style, effects and all this other stuff. And because one year my wife actually went around and took these old wooden posts and built a fence in our front yard. It looked like an old rickety wooden fence. And we put like little doll heads on them and stuff on the post. I'm like, no, we need like a nasty looking severed head and like on every other post. So I found these heads and my wife's like, no, that's way too much. Because we actually have kids that come to our house that won't come to our door. Because little
I can't
kids.
imagine
Yeah.
why.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's
But
shocking.
I found like bodies that looked like they were going through an autopsy and stuff. And I was like, we need to put this out on a tray put candy in it and stuff. And she's like,
my gosh.
no, that's too much. Oh, come on.
oh my gosh. So you need to have a backyard.
We actually thought about that. Like if we
There you
had,
go.
Backyard
The front and the back.
challenge.
we actually thought we said we could have this way for adults and this way for, and I was going to dress up as Pennywise
No.
and just with the red balloon and just point and say like you this way, you this way.
Yeah.
But it was a little late for this year. We don't
That's
have enough
terrifying. Like I'm a little creeped out.
I found a legit Pennywise.
A little?
Oh man, it was awesome outfit. I was like, man, and I'm 6'3". I'm kind of a big guy. I was like,
Yeah.
I'd be probably a looming Pennywise.
Yeah.
Especially with
the only
that
thing
mask.
worse is a kid dressed as Pennywise. It's
Oh,
even
right.
creepier. It's just
Somebody went around our neighborhood last year and tied little red balloons to our. I was like, oh, did you?
No, I did it in my neighborhood. I didn't do it.
I drove by. I was like, what the? That's awesome.
And I had a couple of like paper boats. Like,
Did you really? Oh, that's awesome. You took it next level.
I do. I love to plan and
Yeah.
create and it's.
Well, that's obviously what you're good at. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I love to do it. Absolutely love to do it. And I always say, if it's fun, I'm involved, and you should be too. So,
Ah,
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
Yeah.
There's your motto right there.
that's
Yeah.
right.
If it's
That's
fun,
right.
I'm doing it. You should be too.
Well, you are
Have fun, be
definitely
amazing.
there. You go. You are definitely an asset to our community.
Yes, thank you for doing what you
There
do.
are lots and lots of organizations that that benefit just from you being here. So
Oh, thank you.
we appreciate what
Yeah.
you do. The I just lost it. The Shakespeare thing was the
Oh, yeah.
was
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
lot of fun, and we loved doing that. Sorry, I went totally blank there for a second. I was like,
Yeah.
Discovery Center. Yes.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to get to come alongside them because they were in like skeleton staff and needed some
Yeah.
help. So they fortunate there was grant money, and then I thought
deal.
that was such a fun event. I missed like the Burrow Bites and Brews. I missed that a lot too. It's
Yep.
just fun. We have
Yep.
so many great local breweries, and I mean that's where you started was home
Yeah.
brewing, and then I just love that. I love those stories. So.
Well, is there anything else before we close out you want to give a little teaser on or
Well,
plug or anything?
I just really want to thank all the characters who are playing in Clue.
Okay.
Dr. Greg Van Patten from MTSU. He's the interim dean of the School of Basic and Applied Sciences. He's playing Mr. Green. Dennis Phillips from ISER Residential Lending is playing Wadsworth, our butler, and is going to kill it. Dean Heasley is my favorite, Professor Plum.
Dean's going to be fun.
He
yeah,
has a full houndstooth suit. It's just awesome.
That's awesome.
Shelby Craig from Rocket Shirts is playing
Yep.
Colonel Mustard. Regina Ward is playing Miss Peacock, and she's I just found out a theater girl anyway, so she's gonna have a blast.
Okay.
LaDonna Parham is Miss Scarlett. She's with Nourish Food Bank, so they're a beneficiary, and I love that they jumped in. And then we have Sarah Callender is Miss the Yvette the maid, and Amanda Hunt from the Post is so excited. Like I love that. Like she's just like so excited. And I remember when Dean Heasley applied to be a character, he was like, "What are the chances I get to be the character?" I was like, "You're going to be the character." He's like, "Oh, I thought there was like hundreds of people." I'm like, "No, I literally beg people every year to play the characters." And he was like, "What?" So it's his mission over the next few years where I have people to pick from because so many people want to do it. So they're just, I mean, they're all raising $1,000 each.
Nice.
So
Okay.
a huge shout out to them. That money they raise goes straight to the charities. And then sponsorships and ticket sales offset the cost of the event, and then what's left we give away as well. So
That's
There you
awesome.
go.
those are some great humans in our community too who are helping me.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
You're obviously a very busy person.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks for coming and
Thank you
joining
for
us
having
today.
me.
Oh,
Don't forget
yeah.
your bag of hats down there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
all my
Look at
hats.
those.
Got it. Got it.
All right. Well, thank you again. We appreciate it. And one more time, I'll put it in the description of the video and everything, but how can people find you if they need to?
Wildgoosechase.events.
There you go. Easy enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, that'll be in the description. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Aw,
Thanks.
thank you.
And till next week, we'll see y'all.
See you then.